has any kind of meaning at all. It's not the final game, it's not the first, it's not. It's only about Entomb Valley, Terran versus Zerg, Zerg versus Terran, pure. Rely on your training. Let all those hours, those endless hours of training, weeks, days, months, years, not exactly in that order, let them come back to you here and let your muscle memory work for you as you try to just bring your training about and give the performance of your life here.
And the map is Entomb Valley. We're loading into the game. The countdown is completed. Are you guys ready for game number 5? All right. Well, I certainly am, Grubby. This is going to be awesome. Here we go. The map is Entomb Valley. Let's go.
IPL 5. Welcome to IPL 5, Entomb Valley.
Entomb Valley is the setting for this last game of the loser bracket finals here at IPL 5. And down in the bottom right-hand corner, we have our red Zerg player trying to face a rematch with Lenok. He is...
Azubu Violet.
He's got to be reeling after that last game. It was a long, drawn-out affair, but we hope he has his emotions in check because he still has to take down this guy, our blue Terran player, the last Terran player in the tournament. He is...
TSL Polt.
Polteon, I choose you.
I didn't know there was a Pokemon.
I'm okay with it, though. I could kind of see him as that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're on Entomb Valley. This is a very large map, and clearly lets us know what the vetoes were. It looks like Abyssal City and Antigua Shipyard, so that kind of makes sense, actually, if you think about it.
You think Polt removed Antigua and Violet removed Abyssal?
Or maybe the other way around. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, those 11-11 racks, those quick builds on Antigua are so devastating to try and deal with. Let's see what both these players offer now. Again, a command center first for Polt, but being a lot more safe about it this time. Like we saw in game number 1, it's going to be put on the high ground.
Yeah, and one more thing that, of course, welcome in, have some tea. No, don't come in.
Greet you with a drill.
Make up your mind, Polt. Do you want to let him in or not?
Well, he's going to shut him out and get his SEV out, which is kind of cool.
Very suave move. Now, one more thing you need to keep in mind on this map. I said it's just about this map, but of course you've got to consider what you've played so far on the other maps. Now, Polt, it would not be wise for him to go 11-11 racks here, because every game he's seen, Violet has been drone scouting. Violet, he doesn't want to say, I played 4 excellent macro games. 2 of them I won, 2 of them I lost, and then I lost to a lame double proxy racks rush.
Of course.
So he's taking those precautions. Not every Zerg does it, but he's taking those precautions, scouts for that with his drone. So Polt, of course, he's going to go command center first again. Then, what is Polt thinking? He's, of course, thinking like, okay, you've done an 8 circling rush and a 12 circling rush. It was really annoying. Did quite a lot of damage. So now doing that wall off and keeping those Marines behind there. Maybe not trying to land his command center quite as quickly until he can get a read on whether Violet or not is doing another one of those Zergling rushes.
Now, this has already been a totally different game than our last 4 for a couple of different reasons. Command center was built on the high ground, so there's not a big Zergling play that's coming out of Violet for obvious reasons. They would just be throwing those away. So now Polt has to think, okay, well, 2 games in a row, or I guess the 2 games that I've won in this series, I did it with some pretty strong timing attacks at about the 10-minute mark. But if I do that again, you got to think that Violet's going to be ready for something along those lines, or is going to be scouting for that. So Polt decides to switch things up, go for the quick 3rd command center, but that 3 command center has not been working out that well for him in the series so far.
Yeah, giving Violet that amount of time where they're both macroing up and not necessarily any early aggression for Polt hasn't been working out for him. So I don't know, man. Does Violet even have it in him to stop that attack? You know, is he very comfortable with it? Of course he has it in him, but is he very trained against that? Is he very comfortable? There we go. SCVs being killed. Nice result there with those Zerglings as 2 SCVs get killed.
And a Marine.
The Marine wins against the Zergling.
Yeah, I mean, two SCVs and a Marine for 4 Zerglings. I'll take that trade any day.
Definitely.
And, so Violet does a little bit of damage there, and we'll see what he decides to do here in just a bit as Legend is looking down the cliff line for us. Is that a face? I don't know what that is. I think Legend is just hallucinating. He's so tired right now. He's just seeing things inside of the map.
And now he's showing us again. No, look!
Is the creep going down the side, I guess?
I still don't see it.
Well, we do have a Roach Warren
yeah.
coming up right now.
No, you're right. It's the creep going down the side. That's a nice little physics effect that Blizzard added.
Yeah. But
see, no creep here, says Legend.
Thank you, Legend. We appreciate that. Violet, though, this is a pretty early Roach Warren. Yeah, big round of applause for Legend, by the way. The entire weekend, he and Heaven actually observing for us.
It's those little extra touches, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Even the Warhorn for him. Okay, we have really cool things that are happening right now. We have a really early Roach Warren and a lot of supply up for Violet. He's going to do a strong, and that's Heaven. Thank you very much, Gum. But we have the double factory 3 at a time Blue Flame Hellion build coming out of Polt. This time with 3 command centers to back it up. On the flip side of things, it's actually a strong mech build so far, already opening with tanks and Blue Flame Hellions and 11 roaches coming out of Violet.
All right, so now we don't see triple Hellions coming out just yet. He's using that tank, he's using that factory with the tech lab to make tanks. That's going to be very, very important here and helpful against the massive roach play that Violet is doing here.
But the thing is that he's got to wait for Blue Flame to actually research because he's only got 1 factory with a tech lab, so he's not going to be able to start his siege tech for a decent period of time. And those roaches are going to get there before they're and clumped up, I should say, before that siege tech is done.
Now, Polt is not going to do anything crazy like send in some Hellions to try and do some harassment while this attack is coming. He's going to focus his full power on trying to defend this attack. But he's not being too flustered. Still, he's macroing. He's making 2 barracks. And maybe he feels like he can hold this off. Getting siege tech, of course, is not going to finish in time. Tank is going to do really good against the roaches. And wow, he rebuilt that supply depot really quickly. And again, he rebuilt it again and again.
Oh, that's fantastic! And he's keeping everything on the outside. The splash damage for the Hellions is amazing. And even though he's losing resources each time at this, he holds perfectly. What a brilliant heads-up play from Polt. That was amazing!
I couldn't believe my eyes, man. I got goosebumps.
That was awesome. And Violet is falling back on his economy now, but Polt is in a magnificent position. He's on 3 command centers now. Violet's certainly doing his due diligence with his mechanics, getting his creep spread everywhere through the middle of the map, working on 3 hatcheries himself. And here come the roaches one more time.
Dude, I feel so good and happy right now. I just wish I could say "and again" all day long.
Well, 1 more supply depot goes down. These roaches, they're going to be annoying. They're trying to pick off a couple more structures, but that just forces a cancel. And one of those roaches that goes down that does significantly hurt Violet.
Yeah, that siege tank was just out of range, wasn't able to reach with its siege on those roaches, and the roaches kept back very smartly, very precise play there by Violet, as he just took down a Hellion here and a supply depot there. But Polt, definitely, he's stabilized, he's got his 3rd orbital, and he's got a lot of Hellions with Blue Flame, which are looking to get angry in return as soon as the roach threat has kind of passed.
All right, well, these roaches are being dealt with very effectively. Polt is poking out there. He's willing to take a little bit of damage as he forces those roaches back again and again. Baneling Nest coming up for Violet now. Macro Hatch. Things are looking pretty normal for him at the moment. Polt, though, really investing into his infrastructure. Already going up to, I believe, 5 barracks, something like that. Maybe 5 or 6, actually, and double factory off these 3 bases already. So setting back his army just a little bit to get everything in place, and then he's really going to be able to power out units here in a second.
Yeah, and Violet's 3rd base was later. His infestation pit is only just starting at the 11-minute 30-second mark, which is quite a lot later than usual. So maybe Polt can use this double tank production with all those barracks to attack before there are infestors on the field. I'm not sure if that's realistic or whether that's usual, but we did see that Violet was very, very greedy here. 75 drones off of the back of that roach attack, and he's making 5 more. So he's looking to get about 80 drones or so, and he's just on 40 Zerglings and 5 roaches. And what is he making right now? 6 Zerglings. His infestation pit is finished. He's going to be starting Pathogen Gland soon, and he's also able to morph in a lot of Banelings. And that, of course, is a very scary army, and it can crush any advancing Terran army that is moving out too soon.
That's right. And Polt now, I mean, he's only got a starport coming up right now. I think if it had been a situation where one of those barracks or something like that had been a starport in its place, he maybe could have hit with a couple of medevacs in addition to those tanks. But now it's a little bit more difficult. All right, so let's go ahead and see here as an armory pops up. That'll time nicely to get 2-2 upgrades on the way. And Bailing speed, really everything relevant for Violet at this point is hitting. And he's already getting that Hive Tech, of course, with that Spire. So very quick Infestor Broodlord once again for him.
Yeah, and of course he's looking to see if Terran is going to be moving out. He wants to keep control of that center location, but for now the aliens are going to stop that. Is Polt going to expand the scan here? I guess not. He's afraid that he's just going to be wasting the scan, trying to kill tumors, and then Violet's army will swoop in and it would just be a waste. Polt for now just maximizing his economy. To be fair, his army was a little bit on the late side, so his upgrades weren't quite lined up. But it's not too terrible as Polt just tries to get to a healthy economy before thinking of possibly moving out.
Now, the 2 games that Polt lost did end in Infestor Broodlord. And a kind of a common theme between those was that he was not prepared in time. He did not scout those in enough time. He did not put his infrastructure in place. And once again, he's not picked up on this quite yet. We certainly hope that's going to change. The Zerglings are going to flood on through. The tanks are very clumped up, but they get some very nice shots. Bailing's actually rolling through the middle. The tanks are going to take most of the punishment, but that allows all of the bioforces to survive. So Polt actually pushes back that position. Of course, this is being replaced by purely Zerglings right now. Just a couple of Infestors on the field already, a few more being added on at the moment.
Now there was a slightly better trade for Violet because the tanks were so clumped up. One would wonder what happened if he just spread them out a little bit as he was moving. Even if he was late to siege up, it would be a little bit better for him. But as it stands, there was a great trade for Violet, once again hitting at the perfect time, and now Violet's upgrades are finishing. 2 upgrades for Zerglings as well as burrowed upgrade. And we know how well Violet uses those infestors with burrows, and as we stated, there he goes with that infestor burrowing just to spot for now and throwing up some infested Terrans right before the fight most likely.
That's right, but that Greater Spire is halfway done. Still, Violet has, Polt has no indication of this, and it looks like Violet wants to make this fight right now. Now the tanks are spread out a little bit better this go around, but the Marines are actually in not that great of a position. They're actually being surrounded very quickly, and Polt is already being driven back. Violet with a very nice engagement there.
Yeah, Violet won that fight pretty decisively, and the big difference here is that Violet was on 2-2 and Polt was only on 1-1. That is the difference here. The double evolution chamber were not killed. The armory was a little bit late, and even if the armory wasn't late, that was still a move out before he could have had 2-2. So Polt maybe getting a little bit over-eager. It's so hard to say. Of course, he feels that time clock. He doesn't want to go up against the Infestor Broodlord and is trying to move out there. But on this map here, it's very difficult to get a kind of defensive position. He was caught right there in the middle, and Violet had all the space in the world to do a big surround on him.
He doesn't want to face Infestor Broodlord, but he's going to face Infestor Broodlord as the Broodlords are morphing in right now, and he has to get prepared for those. Drops making its way around the side, doesn't see a 5th base, and it's actually going to put some decent pressure on the 4th here in a second as a lot of units are out of position, but Polt still needs to get a read on these Broodlords very, very quickly, or we're going to find a repeat of games number 2 and 3.
Yeah, we see no preparatory starports being thrown up as Polt is just pouring all his resources into getting the most badass ground-based army possible to try and beat Violet's army.
And what is the Infestor count at right now, if I may ask? So 6 Infestors, that's a decent amount. It's not an overwhelming amount, and if Polt can find a good engagement or take those out or find them a bit out of position, he certainly has the potential to get underneath the Broodlords and do some damage. But if he miscontrols even just a little bit, then Violet is going to have a big advantage. Nice job by Polt, though, to continue picking off Overlords across the map.
Now Polt is going to move out, and Violet will get a very early warning. Red alert as Polt is starting to move on top of the creep tumors. Violet sees everything, and he's once again there with Infestor. Nice scan there.
Yeah, picks off the Infestor right away. As he's doing damage with 2 drops, he actually forces a lot of those units back. So at the very least here, he's going to clear out a lot of creep tumors. He's going to retake control of his half of the map, take the Xel'Naga Tower, and be a little bit more prepared with some spread out units if Violet decides to attack. But Violet's going up to a total of 10. Yes, 10 Broodlords. That is a devastatingly powerful army.
And all Polt has against that is 55 Marines, so he better hope they don't get fungled and they don't die before they're able to get under the Broodlords. As Polt sees this, it's almost like he is surprised. Violet's army of choice in place once again, and Polt is on a full route.
Yes, he is. Where are those Infestors at? I don't see them up at the front, so maybe Polt has a potential to get underneath with his Marines and do some damage, but no, they're sitting right behind these forces as the Broodlords continue to push forward. They continue to pick off these units one by one. We do see two Vikings, 12 Marines being produced at a time. No more starports being put up quite yet.
And if you thought it couldn't get any worse, it just did. Violet's 3-3 upgrades finished, which means its Broodlords, Banelings, and Zerglings are going to be super effective.
Okay, so the fungal growths initially go down, but the infestors are actually being flanked from the side. A couple of those were picked off, but there's not enough Marines left over to get underneath the Broodlords, and they continue to push Polt back. Violet with an incredible engagement there.
In the meantime, Polt has a secret expansion there on the island on the left side, and Vikings are taking shots at the Broodlords. Marines are getting under a Broodlord and taking down another one there on the right side, but the bank of Violet was pretty impressive, and he's getting back to 200 supply with a massive inflow of Zerglings. He's got 68 Zerglings on the field with 30 more coming in, and GG! Violet takes the win 3-2.
Violet advances into the grand finals for a rematch with FXO Leenock. Our last Terran player is eliminated. You can see the look of relief on Violet's face after losing 2 games to that quick Marauder Hellion strike. He is back in it, and he wants revenge.
Violet now going up to 7 series victories here with only 1 loss against Leenock, 1-3. Can he do it? Can he come back against Leenock? We'll have to wait and see.
It's gonna be a good one. Guys, we are going to go to a break. It was a pleasure casting for you, though. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at KenZy. He is at FollowGrubby. And don't forget, guys, to pick up your merchandise right now. The store is actually closing right before the grand finals, but we are going to have a best of 5, possibly a best of 3 after that between Leenock and Violet right after this.
Hope you enjoyed this cast. It was Grubby and Kevin Nocky. We're gonna pass the torch now to Total Biscuit and Diapollo for the finals match here.